Right.
Hey, welcome to video number 191 of Walker This Way with Hazel Walker, the queen of all things. Oh,
You and I and networking.
This is amazing. I am Mark Simmons. Hazel.
Yeah.
You're back home. You have a different background.
I do. I'm back to my bookcase. You know, I've had people ask me, "Where's your bookcase?" I go, "It's back in Vienna."
Right. But now you're back home. We are no longer
Back
5
home.
feet apart. We are a long way, but closer than ever.
That's
So,
right.
Hazel.
Yeah.
You know my lovely wife Jill.
Yeah.
On Saturday we were she said, "Okay, let's go." And I said, "Where are we going?" And she goes, "Well, we got to go to this place." I go, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "I have told you so many times that we need to go to this place." And I go, "I have no recollection. I don't think you told me." She goes, "No, I did tell you." I'm like, "Nah, I don't think you told me." It turns out she did tell me, but because that's always the case, I didn't write it down. And then we're thinking about, well, in business, this happens a lot. I told you, no, you didn't. Yes, you did. And so this is a good place for us to start this one.
It actually happens a lot between spouses and partners and children, right?
Yeah.
George Bernard Shaw says the greatest problem with communication is the illusion that it's been accomplished.
Right.
Right. So we think we said it and that you understood it the way I said it.
Yeah.
But going down the road and you'll say, A, I didn't say it, or that's not the way I understood. What you said was, because you're going to interpret what I said by how you heard it.
Yeah.
Right. Which may or may not be even close to what I said. Because you did all the filtering and editing as it was going through your head. And then you'll recall it completely differently than what I actually said it. So the communication never is actually accomplished.
Right.
Especially if we don't, I've seen people use the technique of, so Mark, what I heard you say was, is that correct? Right. So that's a good way to reaffirm that I understood what you said. What I heard you say was this, and this is what you're wanting. Right.
Right.
There's some reaffirmation in that, but let me tell you where it's really coming. This has been an issue and I had to just resolve one. Guy says to another guy, they're going to do a business thing. And this guy says, well, in order to do this business thing, this has to happen. And this guy's like, okay, and wanders off, right? Then the business is done. And this guy says, well, now this all has to, because of the way we set this up. And this guy, no, that's not the way that's not what was that. I didn't agree to that. Yes, you did agree to that. No, that's not what you said. Right. So now they've got a conflict.
Right.
In their little business deal. And when I ask about, well, what did you agree on? It was a handshake. It was a handshake deal, Hazel. I do all my deals by handshake because I trust people. This doesn't have anything to do with trust.
Not at all.
This has everything to do with communication, right? You can't, especially in business, you should not be doing handshake deals because even in email, things can get, you were really angry when you sent me that email. No, I was really busy.
Right.
Because the emotions and it gets translated and everything, but that's even worse when it's all verbal. Mm-hmm. So I said to them, at the very least, you should put it in bullet points in an email and then ask, does this work for you? And get the response back.
Right. And
then save it.
Yeah.
So you can go back to it historically and go, here's what we agreed on. It doesn't have to be a contract or any legal stuff. It just needs to be clearly somewhere where you can go back to it because we only remember what we remember.
Right.
And a good portion of our history that we remember isn't even real. And scientists have proven this. Like we have these ideas of all the stuff we did as children, and it's not real. Like we exaggerated or changed it or shift it from how we felt or remember. It wasn't all true. It was a story.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I love George Bernard's is we think we communicate and we think we've accomplished it. And we know that from leadership team training, don't we?
That we do. We told you this. I don't think you did. But
Yeah.
luckily we can go back to a point in time and say, here's the email, here's the date it was sent, or the multiple dates we've sent it out multiple times. As far as
Here it
that,
is in the manual.
but it's there. Here are the places for it. And so like in business, you have there's a scope of work that
Yeah.
we do for others. And it's hard to remember all that stuff for one thing on a handshake. I'm
Yeah,
going to do these 10 things for you. So really it's a follow-up, which we talk about a lot, follow-up.
we do.
It still can be considered, it's your handshake deal with some context and clarity with a follow-up email outlining what you and I just talked about. You and I do this sometimes too, is we'll go, so just to clarify, we discussed these things.
Yes, just you want this, this, and this, or that
Right.
we're gonna do this way,
Right.
right? Because I hear, I didn't say that, but that is what you said. And then it
Yes.
becomes my
Yes.
word against their word, right?
Yeah.
And that leads to conflict. So if you can just say, okay, I'm just gonna follow up in an email, Hazel, so that you'll remember these 3 things, okay? Yes.
Right.
That's fine. That works because then I can refer back to it and get things done that I committed to. Yeah.
And I think for B&I members, if you want proof that sometimes what you're saying isn't getting across, when you finish your weekly presentation each week, go up to some of the members and say, what did I ask for today? Who's my ideal client in it? And see what they come back with. Most of them won't be able to give you anything because they didn't hear it, or they heard it differently.
Right. And I even when I was a member, I tell members you have to ask 3 times for the same exact thing in the same exact way, or maybe change it up a little bit, but it's the same exact request 3 times in a row, because half the room is asleep the first time, the other half of the room is asleep the second time, and then right here in the middle are the people who were just doing something else.
Yeah.
Right. And so only 1/3 of the room is ever catching anything.
Right.
So you gotta repeat the request if you're going to get business.
Absolutely. And we have to remember too that everybody is really busy. People are busy. There's a lot going on personally, professionally. Their heads are full. Mine is so full, it pushed my hair out.
Yeah.
That's how full my head is, right? Heads are full. It's hard to absorb information. So yeah, we have a handshake. Hazel, you and I will handshake on it, but it's going to be a follow-up email one way or the other saying, so this is what we discussed.
And you just have to remember, it's not about trust.
Not at all.
It's like, I totally trust you. I can do a handshake deal with you, but I'm going to follow it up with an email as this is what we agreed upon.
Right.
Just so it's about the communication.
Yeah.
Because
it's clarifying. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I say, and then if it does get legal, at least you have the emails showing, well, here's the email I sent and here's what you sent back and said you understood.
Right.
Right. So it's a document that I can provide if it ever came to that. 99.9% of the time it doesn't come to that.
Right.
It just comes to hard feelings. And that was what was going on here, was there were hard feelings because it was miscommunication. And then everybody got very defensive.
Right.
Right. So that's what we want to prevent. And that includes with your spouse. When she tells you something, you look at her and say,
I always say, okay.
Not okay.
I don't mean it.
Because that means I took okay as that you understood.
Yeah.
What I should do is go, I'll tell Jill this. I'll get hold of Jill and let Jill know what she should do once she tells you something is say, Mark, could you please repeat back to me what I just told you?
Yeah. What okay means to me, if I say that to her, is I'm actually watching Judge Judy right now and I've completely ignored you, and please stop talking. So I'm saying okay right now. Judge Judy, continue.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yes.
But yes.
What happens?
Yeah. Also at my advancing age, I forget a lot. But that's a whole other Walker this way thing.
Correct. Which is why we got it. And there's a whole other thing, right? Busy moms, busy people. elderly
busy.
people.
Yeah, we're all busy. All right, so listen, this is great advice. Has less to do with the trust. It has actually nothing to do with trust.
Has nothing to do.
Not that I don't trust you, because we need to write it down just so we have clarity and a record to fall back on. That's it.
About the communication. You want to make sure you really accomplished it.
Yeah, it makes it easier. All right. Till next time, Hazel Walker.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.